I like traveling, so I was on my way to Ghana, and it was about 3 hours before I was going to board. And I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, you know, if I get on this plane and I die or it crashes or something, I'm going to die an unbeliever. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, but I actually believe, but I haven't taken my shahada.
Seorang wanita berasal dari London, dia dibesarkan di keluarga Kristen yang kurang religius. Dia menemukan Islam di saat keluarganya mengalami masa-masa sulit, saudaranya masuk penjara, dan setelah berapa lama masuk penjara, saudaranya menemukan Islam di dalam penjara. Sekarang dia mengalami banyak perubahan dalam hidupnya, lebih sopan dan lebih lembut kepada semua orang. Hal itu membuat keluarganya juga memeluk Islam.
My name is Helima Stevenson. I embraced Islam 5.5 years ago. I was brought up in South London. My family was never ever religious. We started going to church for Christmas and New Year's. My mum was a hard-working mother. We didn't live with my dad, and my mum normally held down at least 2 or 3 jobs. My mum was kind of like the father as well, because she is a bouncer. So one of her jobs was a bouncer. So any problems I had at school, I could always call on her to come and help me out of it. I have a brother and I have a sister. That's from my mother. And we all lived in a house together and had normal arguments like everyday children do. My brother and myself, we went through our rocky stages, and my brother ended up going to jail. And myself and my mum, one day we went to jail and we saw him, and we're looking for him in this big room, and we see him right at the end. And he had, at the time, I didn't know what it was called, but he had like a kufi on. So we've gone up to him and I've just started laughing my head off, and I'm like, what are you doing? You behaving like a freak. What's wrong with you? You look like an idiot. And he took it really offensive, and he said, oh, if you're going to take the mick out of my religion, then I'm going to get the governor to come and take me back to my cell. And I couldn't believe it, because I thought, you'd rather go back to your cell than sit out here and have a Snicker bar and chill with me. And he was really serious. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to ask him, you know, what's going on? So he said that he'd embraced Islam. And I was just like, well, why? And he said to me, you know, he's been reading a lot and he's been speaking to an imam that comes to the mosque. And he said that he believes this is the way. And he started telling me about, you know, all these little things that had happened, how he was trying to pray the morning prayer, which is Fajr, and he didn't have an alarm clock, and how a little bird would come and sit outside his ledge and would tweet, 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 and it would tweet so loud that it would wake him up and he would pray. So I wasn't interested. I was just like, oh, whatever, that's just a coincidence. Oh, stop it, you're being silly. But he kept going on, and he said, oh, you know, I really want you to, you know, research it and stuff like that. So we went away, and I said to my mum, oh, that's just a phase. He'll be back to normal tomorrow. And in my heart, I actually felt like, you know, my brother's changing, even though he was changing for the better, because he was much more polite and he was much more nicer. But I still felt like he's changing, and I don't know, you know, what's happening. He's not the same person anymore.
Saat dia mengunjungi saudaranya di penjara untuk kedua kalinya, saudaranya memberikan sebuah kaset tentang tujuan hidup dalam Islam. Saudaranya memintanya untuk mempelajari dan meneliti Islam, namun dia tidak tertarik sama sekali. Ketika dia pulang bekerja, dia mencoba memutar kaset yang diberikan oleh saudaranya. Tapi saat dia selesai mendengarkan dakwah Islam dari kaset itu, dia mulai tertarik untuk mempelajari Islam.
Anyway, I went back and I visited him again. And he said to me, oh, okay, I've been trying on 2 different occasions to get this tape out to you, and I finally got it out to you. He said, every time I've tried to bring it out to you, I kept getting caught by the governors. So I didn't even ask him how he managed to get this tape out. So he gave it to me under the table, and I took this tape, and he was like, just make sure you listen to it, make sure you listen to it. So I was like, okay, whatever. So one day when I was driving downtown, and I was listening to Choice FM, and it was boring. I was stuck in traffic, and I looked down and I saw the tape, and I said, oh, you know what? He went to so much trouble to get this tape out to me. let me at least give him the courtesy of just listening to it. So I chucked it in the cassette player. I started listening to it, but it wasn't really going in my head. It was going through one ear and out the other. Anyway, what had happened is the cassette player, it got stuck in my cassette player. The tape got stuck in my cassette player. And I started listening. I tried to eject it. It wouldn't come out. I even tried to turn the volume down and the volume got stuck. So I had no choice but to listen to this tape, and it kept flipping over A, B, A, B. And I started to listen to it, but feel it. And the tape was called Purpose of Life by Khalid Jassin. Now I'm aware of it. Before I never knew who he was or anything like that. And he was like talking about life and certain things I was going through, and he was saying like, don't be scared, and you believe, and he was like explaining it. And that's when I started to take interest, and I thought, okay.
Kemudian dia pergi ke masjid bersama temannya untuk belajar lebih banyak lagi tentang Islam. Saat di masjid dia bertemu seorang perempuan muslim, dan dia mulai mengajukan beberapa pertanyaan, dan ada satu pertanyaan yang tidak bisa dijawab oleh perempuan muslim itu. Dan dia mencari imam untuk menjawab pertanyaan itu. Di saat itu, Helena kagum melihat perempuan muslim itu, karena dia berusaha mencari jawaban pertanyaan Helena. Padahal kalau di Kristen dia pernah bertanya, dan jawaban yang dia terima, cukup imani saja. Dan dia tidak pernah mendapat penjelasan apapun. Dia merasakan perbedaan di saat perempuan muslim berusaha keras untuk menjawab pertanyaannya.
So then after that, I started to, come across different people, and I had a friend, and he took me to Regent's Park Mosque, and he said to me, okay, go to the bookshop. So he told the bookshop man, okay, this girl, she's going to take her shahada. So he said, right, I'm going to go and pray, you just stay here. So the bookshop man, he got me a sister that wasn't praying at the time, and the sister was outside talking to me. So I had a few questions. I can't even remember what they are now, but I had a few questions, and I said to her, can you explain a bit more about the religion? And she explained it. And there was one thing I asked her, which I can't remember, but she didn't know the answer. And she went to the bookshop man and she asked him. And then she came back and she told it to me and she explained it to me. And I thought that was really nice, that even though she didn't know the answer, she took effort to go and find out the answer for me, where previous to that, in Christianity, I had asked a question and, they was just like, well, it's like that because it is. And it was just cut dead. I wasn't explained anything. And I think that made a huge difference, that she'd actually gone out of her way to answer my question. So she'd come back, and my friend had come out of the mosque, and he said, are you Muslim now? Are you Muslim? And I was just like, well, no, I'm not. I'm still taking my time.
Sebulan kemudian, Helena pergi jalan-jalan ke Ghana. Sebelum naik pesawat, dia selalu berpikir bahwa dia belum masuk Islam. Dia mulai takut jika terjadi sesuatu pada pesawat atau pesawat itu jatuh dan dia meninggal dalam keadaan kafir. Kemudian dia menelpon temannya dan seorang imam. Di saat itu dia mengucapkan syahadat.
And then one day, I think a few weeks after that, or maybe a month, I like traveling, so I was on my way to Ghana, and it was about 3 hours before I was going to board. And I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, if I get on this plane and I die, or it crashes or something, I'm going to die an unbeliever. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, but I actually believe, but I haven't taken my shahada. And I was just, well, what's stopping me? What's stopping me? So I got so scared that, I called someone. I was just like, I'm ready. Like, I need to take my shahada now, because if I get on that plane that crashes, and, I do believe. So 3 hours before I was about to get on my plane, I called my friend, the one that had taken me to the mosque, and I said, okay, I'm ready. I want to do it now. Quick. So he was just like, okay, hold on. Let me just go and get somebody to help you take your shahada. So he called somebody else, and I had like 2 phones on loudspeak. And, the brother explained to me what I was saying, that I believe in one God, and that the Prophet ﷺ is, the last messenger. And I was like, yes, I agree. And, then I said, la ilallah. And, then, he said, oh, welcome to the deen, mashallah. So about 3 hours before I boarded my plane to Ghana, I took my shahada, and, the rest is history.
Alasan utama dan hal yang menarik Helena kepada Islam adalah kenyataan bahwa dia tidak pernah percaya bahwa Yesus adalah putra Tuhan. Dan ketika Helena meneliti lebih lanjut dan mendapatkan pemahaman yang lebih besar tentang Islam, semuanya menjadi masuk akal. Semua yang dia baca sangat mudah dipahami dan tidak ada pertanyaan sama sekali. Setelah melihat perubahan dari kedua anaknya yang telah menjadi Muslim, ibunya juga mengucapkan syahadat saat Ramadan. Jadi semua keluarganya telah menjadi Muslim, mereka bisa merayakan Idul Fitri bersama.
The main reason and thing that drew me to Islam was the fact that I never believed that Jesus was the Son of God. And, so when I researched more and, got a bigger understanding of Islam, everything just made sense. Everything that I read, it was just so self-explanatory, and there was just no questions for it. So I was kind of fortunate. When I told my mum that I was Muslim, she wasn't really surprised. So she was very supportive, and, she would come to the market with me and help me buy hijabs and tell me what colours suited me, and, tell me, don't wear black all the time. You don't have to always wear black. Wear a different colour. But black was just easier for me. I think she even saw the benefits as well, because when we would go and wash my car together, she would see how, the Muslims would flock around you and how nice they were. And, now, alhamdulillah, my mum is Muslim. She took her Shahada last year, Ramadan. And so now I have my brother, my little sister, who's 19, and my mother. We're all Muslims, so we now get to experience, the Eid Salah together and having Eid. So Christmas has totally gone out of the window.